Well, you guys almost got out of here without an intro. I almost forgot, but I remembered because I definitely want to give you a little, sneak peek at what's going to be coming up. And this whole thing evolved into something that I didn't expect. Things that I'm learning from my granny blanket. Yeah. So you guys, if you know anyone who's autistic in your life, we have a thing that's called our special interest or our special focus. And I guess I thought everybody had passions that run deep and tight like we do, but they don't, because we take it to that next obsessive level. When it's the only thing you can think about or talk about, it can, it can become a problem. And so I'm learning through working on this blanket, I'm learning different aspects about who I am, and that was a surprise. And I'm also learning things I can do to help me be more focused in other areas of my life. Is that confusing? I'm confused. So when we talk about our special interests, it's not just like math or sci-fi, dinosaurs, or anime, gaming, any of those sorts of things. It can be literally anything. And for a while there, a few years back, mine was my natural hair. Stop putting heat on my hair and going natural. I talked about my hair to my poor husband every stinking day, all day long, for 3 straight years. The poor man. And he did it with no problem, and that was before we knew I was autistic. So he was so patient with me even back then, and so now he understands what I'm going through right now with my yarn and everything, and so he's been really supportive with that too. He's the best. So one of the things that most of us who are autistic struggle with, when we're deep in the middle of our special interest, it literally is all we want to talk about. And I know it sounds rude, but we could, couldn't give two shits to what you want to talk about, because it's about us, right? And I know it seems like that, and I know I'm sounding like we're this entity that's selfish, but we're not. We're just driven by that passion to the point of diminishing and blowing up relationships and friendships, quite honestly. One of the other things that ties in with it is when our routines are interrupted. And so when you take your special interest and you wrap it up into your daily routine, and that routine gets interrupted, there's gonna be hell to pay. And we don't mean it. I never mean it. I don't, but I will lose my mind if I'm interrupted with what I'm doing. And I'm working on that, and I'm trying to be, more accommodating and everything like that. And I have a husband that's like, Toots, you need to lighten up a little bit. And so I do. But anyway, I just wanted to do a quick little intro and let you kind of know what's coming up, little snapshots of me trying to establish a new routine is being really something I'm working on, because I'm starting to get comments now, and so I want to respond back, in a timely manner. And so I'm trying to do that in the morning, and so I'm working on my routines. And so far it's been okay. I've only been doing it, like for a week. And so I don't know how it's going to pan out, but for now, that's the plan. On, if I want to work on yarn, and if I want to work on my projects, we need to get our morning routine out of the way, and we need to get on our computer and answer comments, and then, figure out, what kind of content we're going to be working on. So I've been doing that. And what else have I been doing? Hang on. Where's my notes? Where are my notes? Oh, I'm also learning, like I said, through my granny blanket, I'm learning patience, understanding how I learn. That's been really key, because I never really knew what's the best way for me to learn. How do I learn? And so I covered that just a little bit. And then the power of crochet and mental health, big one for me. And learning more about Lizzie and Dee Dee and what they like, why they like it, how they like it, and what parameters shape the things that they want to do. And so, yeah, anyway, that's all I have to say. That's my intro. And if you made it this far into my intro, I have a really long video to follow. But if you hang in there, I might have a little sneak peek at the very end of this video. And it might have something to do with, ooh, see you at the end of the video. Yeah, this is my first morning trying something new. After I do my regular morning routine and everything like that, I'm telling myself you cannot just go upstairs and start playing with yarn and making stuff. You got other things you need to do. So I decided after I finish with all my morning stuff, I'm going to get on my computer and answer my comments. You guys, I have not only subscribers, but people that are leaving me comments and everything like that, which is something that I never expected. So, I'm trying to answer everybody back, on a, within reason, and so every morning I want to sit down and answer all of my comments. And I also want to think about what I want to put in my community tab, because I want us all to hang out there too. I want to put together a neurodivergent crafting safe space on my page within my community. And so I don't know what that means or what that looks like or if that's what people do, but that's my plan for now. After many weeks of watching tens and tens of YouTube tutorials, I finally think I found one that my brain would understand. And I'm finally putting together my first 2 rows of my granny square blanket. Well, here it is lunchtime, and I always just struggle with what am I going to eat today? Because I struggle with repetitive eating. I have to eat the same thing every single day because I need that sensory comfort of knowing that the taste is going to be the same, the smell and the texture, and everything is going to be predictable. It's important for me to try new foods because for the last 5 years, I've eaten pretty much the same 3 things. Either a protein shake and 2 hard-boiled eggs, pepperoni sandwich on toast, or lately, like the past, 8 to 12 months, it's just been a peanut butter sandwich on toast, and I really need to do better. But understanding that it's not about nutrition for me, it's about predictability and sameness in my routine. It helps to reduce my anxiety over food and what to eat because I really struggle with that and it's really stressful. But I'm trying something new today, canned chicken. I like canned tuna, so I'm very hopeful. Wish me luck. So I finally learned how to do the slip stitch on these damn things. And I think it just looks so good. And so these are the first 2 rows of that granny blanket, that granny square blanket. And look at how cool that is. That purple against that yellow. This one right here, that's a favorite. That looks so good. This one looks so good. I am just so excited that I wanted to go with the bitty stripe. So yeah, I wanted to let you guys take a quick look at it. I tell ya, thank you, E.G., Crocheting with E.G., because I listened to his whole show today while I was trying to figure this out, because I love the way he rambles on, because when he rambles on, it quiets my brain down so I can think and I can, figure some things out. So with his help today, I was able to figure out how to do this damn stitch and, how to get it all, connected so everything looked, it looks good, yeah? Yeah. Okay, so I just showed you guys row 1 and 2 in there. So here I've got row 3 staged. And this is row 3, bottom of the row. And this is row 3, top of the row. And so I've got all of that figured out too. And so these are steamed right now. And sorry, my shadow's all over the place in here. I've got these steamed right now and I'm waiting for them to dry. And then I'll probably let them dry overnight and then all day tomorrow. And then I will start stitching together Well, no, I won't start stitching together yet. I'm going to let these stretch, and then I'm going to get row 4 on these backboards here, and I'm going to get them stretching too. And then I'm going to let everything stretch overnight and then all day tomorrow. And then the next day I will start slip stitching together rows 3 and 4. Hoorah! I just wanted to come back here into Granny Square Blanket Central to show you that I've got rows 3 and 4 all done and connected. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are connected. And this is what I meant. See, I have these are connected and these are connected all the way up. And then when I get all the panels done, then I'll start connecting these together all the way up, all the panels. And then when that gets done, then I will be shifting this way and linking everything vertically. Boy, that's gonna be a lot of work. I don't think I'm gonna be doing another granny square blanket. Somebody should have told me. So this week has been all about that big ass granny blanket. It's been a lot of work, and I had no idea how much work it was gonna be. And I think I might have thoughts about that. After it's all said and done, we're going to revisit the whole granny blanket fiasco. Because, you know, matter of fact, I'm getting ready to block row 5. I have sewn together rows 1 and 2. Those are done. I've sewn together rows 3 and 4. I can count, I promise. I sewed together rows 1 and 2, and then I just finished rows 3 and 4. Now I'm blocking rows 5 and 6, so those are going to be next. And so I figured while I'm putting them on the stretcher, I might as well, you know, get on here and yap some. Because first off, this granny blanket has been a lot harder than I thought. Well, not hard. No. Not hard. Fiddly. A lot. I mean, had I known I would have needed like 117 squares for a granny blanket before I started making a granny blanket, I wouldn't have made a granny blanket. But since I was learning how to crochet and I love making circles, that's how it all started. It all started with me making circles. And then I was like, I wonder if I can make this circle and like turn it into a square. And then it was like, you know, a granny square. And I was like, well, that's cool. I had made so many circles that I only needed like, I don't know, 25 or 32 more to be able to make, you know, a granny square blanket. So I was like, well, I'll just do that. I don't know what I was thinking. It's been a lot of work. And, you know, and it's so interesting. That's why I always like to talk about the neurodivergent part of things, because my autism has been loving this whole process, but my autism loves rigidity and routine and sameness. And, you know, I need to be able to rely on, you know, certain things being a certain way, you know what I mean? And so that has been working out very well. These granny squares have been working out really well for, you know, Autistic Lizzie. She loves it. But ADHD, Dee Dee, she hates it. It's too fidgety. And matter of fact, right now, Dee Dee is in my head. She's like, oh, we're stretching these stupid granny squares again. How many more do we have? I don't have the heart to tell her that after we do all of the rows, connecting all of the rows, I don't have the heart to tell her that then we have to go back in and connect, you know, the other way. I'm not gonna tell her. So it's just been an interesting transition from learning to crochet and making circles to all of a sudden making this big, huge granny blanket. But the other thing that I have noted is I was starting to feel a little like almost out of sorts somewhat, because so many content creators out there are like, oh, let's see what I crocheted, you know, in a week, you know, last week, you know, and every week they have an update on all the stuff they crocheted. And I was starting to feel a little bit of pressure about that, but now I'm not going to, because it's obvious I prefer long projects. And then I like to have short projects in between to break up any monotony that might be going on. Does that make sense? So I think that's what's going on, but I'm not positive. But it's making sense in my brain. I just checked in. It's making sense to their brains too. So yeah, you know. And so I'm learning through the process of learning how to crochet that I also need to learn how to balance out my projects. And that even includes buying yarn, which is the reason I'm here in the first place, is because I love yarn. But the tricky part of that is all of my different personas prefer different things about yarn. Dee Dee loves the process of bright, pretty colors, and she loves the process of buying yarn, and she's impulsive, and she just wants to buy yarn based on pretty colors. Autistic Lizzie, on the other hand, also loves yarn just as much as Dee Dee does, but Autistic Lizzie prefers to have coordination and wants to work on long projects, and she appreciates, you know, the sameness of stitches. And so where ADHD might want to do a project that has, you know, a 5 or 6 different row changes, repeats, my autism would prefer a 1 row repeat. Does that make sense? And so I'm starting to understand now through crocheting how to support me, my ADHD, and my autism. And that's something that I didn't expect to happen, but that I think is pretty cool. I say all that to say, we're sitting here doing the one thing that Dee Dee really hates right now, which is putting these on. She likes steaming them. She doesn't like all of this. She doesn't like all this little, you know, all this little fiddly, tedious stuff. And so I thought, well, the best way to make Dee Dee happy while I'm doing all of this is to get on camera, because Dee Dee likes to get on camera, because Dee Dee thinks she's funny, and you know, we let her think that. So you know, I got on camera here because I knew that would, you know, feed Dee Dee, and she would be fine with that. And other than that, you know, I've been working on my vlog this week a lot, and you know, just doing some interesting things. I've got some information coming out about, like, you know, what my morning looks like, and you know, trying to establish a new routine that includes yarn, and I'm trying to use it as a carrot dangling, you know, in front of you. Oh, if you want to do yarn, then we need to do this first. And so I've been actually reshaping my morning routine, and now I've added to my morning routine. So after I'm done doing all of my stuff and making all of my coffee and, you know, doing whatever, then I have to get on my computer and think about what I want to upload, you know, to the community, you know, my community tab, because I really want to build out my community. You know, all of you guys that I've met so far are just so awesome, and I want to have a community for us to hang out, you know, and do stuff. So check my community tabs too, you know, not just for uploads of videos, because on my community, I'm going to be posting just random snapshots of me, you know, throughout whatever project I'm working on or whatever I'm doing. And, you know, just giving you little updates about, you know, what's going on, and, you know, what's happening, you know, kind of thing like that. You know, what's the tea, you know, what's the what do they call it? What's the 411? What's the information? Do y'all still say that anymore? Or is that, you know, is that a boomer thing? I don't know. Sometimes I forget how old I am. So anyway, this is kind of what I've been working on. It's been, like I said, all about the granny blanket, and just reflecting back on what got me to start the granny blanket in the first place. And because there were no plans. I like circles, and that was the plan, was to learn how to crochet, learn how to count stitches, because I still suck at counting stitches. I don't know why. And, you know, and so it taught me to do that, and it taught me how to, you know, notice certain little nuances about stitches, what they look like, you know, and what it's supposed to respond like, especially when you're doing circles and needing to know what count you need to have at the end of the circle. And you can't fudge it. I've tried. And I'm like, oh, you know, I'll catch it up next. You can't catch it up the next row. So it's very important. And so this granny blanket has taught me a lot. Now, will I continue to make blankets? Absolutely, because I love making blankets and I love long-term big projects. That striped blanket has just been my favorite thing ever. And so I'll continue doing that for sure. But I just wanted to get on here for a little while I was stretching these, and, you know, I wanted to appease, you know, ADHD Dee Dee a little bit and let her have her little camera time, you know, see if she wanted to say anything funny or whatever. And but yeah, other than that, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I'm gonna finish up row 5. This is row 5 bottom. I've got this one staged here. You see it right there? That one I'm going to put row 5 top, and then I've got rows 6 staged over there. So it's actually not working out too badly. And I gave a shout out earlier, or in one of the clips that's coming up, I don't even know where it is anymore, to E.G. from Crochet with E.G. And I love to put on his yarn hauls, and I love to listen to him talk while I'm actually putting my blanket together, while I'm stitching it together, because his voice and talking and all of his rambling on he does, I just love it so much. It actually quiets my brain down listening to him, so I can concentrate on doing those damn slip stitches in that granny square blanket. So there's that. So I'm going to continue on. I just wanted to check in, and I guess I'll see you, like, I don't know, next clip, next thing, next that, what do I want to call it? The next caveat. I'll see you around the next caveat. Deuces. Well, welcome back to the last little, I don't know, vignette. I don't know what I'm going to call it yet. It doesn't matter. I just have to be extra. But I promised a little tiny little sneak peek at the end of this video. And if you're still here, you are going to be rewarded. So check it out. I'm not going to show you the whole thing. I'm just going to give you just little peeks. You ready? First off, oh yeah, it involves a whole lot of prettiness. That's all you get to see. Oh, and what else? Maybe some gem action, maybe? Or maybe some of this? Maybe some of that? Maybe some of that? Who knows? You're gonna have to wait until what? The next yarn vlogs. But before we take off, I have to know, are you neurodivergent? Are you autistic, ADHD, or think you might be? Do you love yarn as much as I do? Apparently you do, because you're here with me right now. And I hope you stick around with me. I've got so many fun things coming up on this channel. You're not gonna wanna miss it. And so, you guys know, with that said, I will see you in my next video.